Shabbat Shalom. In this week's parasha of Parshat Chukat, we suffer from a condition known as deja vu. Let me explain. In this week's parasha, the Jewish people complain about the lack of water. God says to Moses, take the staff, speak to the rock. Moses goes, hits the rock. Hashem says, you're no longer going to be allowed to go into the land of Israel. Whoa, wait a second. Didn't I just hear this parasha already? Go backwards. Rewind. Parshat B'Shalach. Moses takes the Jewish people out of Egypt. They arrive in the desert. There is no water. The people complain about water. Hashem says, Moses, take your stick, hit the rock. Moses hit the rock, and so the water came out. Why the difference? Same stories, same issues. Why the different response? Yeshakoyach in Shmot, you're not going into the land of Israel in Bamidbar. There's one major difference between these two. Allow me to explain. In Parshat Shmot, we're reading about how the people exited from the land of Egypt. Here, we are talking about the 40th year. 40 years have passed. It's a new generation. And Hashem says to Moshe, they're complaining about water. I want you to go and talk to the rock. Moshe responds by hitting the rock. And Hashem says, you're out of here. You can no longer be the leader of the Jewish people. It's going to be Joshua. And many people have analyzed the story and said, what is going on here? What did Moses do that was so bad? Rabbi Soloveitchik offers a beautiful, insightful message over here. And he says, you know what the problem was? Different generation. Moshe Rabbeinu offers the same solution to the new generation as had worked with the old generation. And if we're using the idea of the rock as a metaphor and the water as a metaphor, let's try and analyze it for a moment. The rock symbolizes the people. The water symbolizes the Torah. When the Jewish people come out of Egypt, Hashem says to them, smack the rock to get the water. When the child is young, the response of the teacher or the parent is to not hit the rock anymore, right? That's just 2022. But respond with a firm hand. But if you try, 40 years down the track, Hashem says they want water from the rock. Speak to the rock. It needs a different response to be able to get the water out of the rock, to get the inspiration from the people. The methods that you did 40 years ago are not applicable, will not work today, will be damaging today. 40 years ago, a teacher could come into the class, they used to smack the students, kept them in line. Today, there'll be a lawsuit. It doesn't work. You need a different response. And thus says Rabbi Soloveitchik, the tragedy of this parasha is that Moshe Rabbeinu, the great leader, cannot relate to the new generation. And this is a message which I take to heart and think about every single day and certainly every single year on the parsha of Chukat. And the question you ask yourself is, what I did before, how I educated before, which worked so well then, does it work today? What I need to do today to connect to the generation. What I need to do today that didn't work in those days. I remember sitting in a shiur, and the lesson went for 3 hours. Today, I have to distill the message much quicker. Let me share your story. The chief rabbi of South Africa in the 1940s and 50s was Rabbi Rabinovitz. And I've got his book in which he describes the arts of the sermon. And in it describes, says, if you cannot give your message over in 20 to 30 minutes, it's a bad drosha. That's 1940. In 2020s, if I cannot get the message over within 5 minutes, it's a bad drosha. And this is why I'm on TikTok and Instagram Reels. Check out Rabbi Lewin on both platforms. If I cannot get the message out within 60 seconds, it is too long. The rock and the water from 40 years ago is not the same rock and the same water as today. Different times, different generations require a different response. And thus Parshat Chukat, although on the surface appears to be the same story, is completely different. And the response that Moses takes in Parshat Chukat, which was the right response for Parshat Beshalach of 40 years previous, fails now. And Hashem says to him, Shelo hikdishani, you did not sanctify me here. You were not able to adapt and move and create with the new time. The challenge for educators, for parents, for rabbis is, how do we get the water out of the rock now? We cannot do what we did in the past. It will not be effective for this generation. Much to think about as a community, as a parent, and as a teacher and rabbi. Shabbat Shalom. Hi, this is Rabbi Lewin. If you've enjoyed the content of the sermons and the ideas that have been expressed in the YouTube video, please hit that first subscription button and notification bell, and share the videos with friends. We'd love to grow the channel and love to engage with you. Please share your comments in the section below. I'd love to hear from you. Have an amazing day.